Alright guys, for today's video, or one of today's videos, we're going to look at example number 1, which says, a Hummer purchased 5 years ago for $94,000 has a declining value of 9% per year. Create an equation for this situation, then find its value now. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to find the starting value, also known as the y-intercept, and then find the multiplier. Well, if we go back to the example, the starting amount is actually given to us because you purchased it at a starting amount of $94,000. So we know this is going to be our A value. Let's go ahead and write that down. So we know that A is going to be equal to 94,000. Awesome. We're going to have to find out what B is going to be equal to. But for us to do that, let's go back to the example and take a look at it. So we know it has a declining value of 9%. Well, this actually tells us a couple of things. First off, we know 9% is not a decimal, so we're going to have to convert that into a decimal. We'll do that in a second. We also know that it is declining, and that's going to be very valuable to us. So let's go ahead and find out what the decimal of 9% is. So the decimal of 9% can be converted by moving the the decimal point from here over to the left twice. So imagine it jumps over to here and then over once more, and we will actually get 0.09. So our decimal percent is going to be 0.09. However, we know that this is not going to be our B because we are declining. And when we talk about a declining percent, like we talked about before, we need to take this value of 9% and subtract it from the number 1. So let's go back to our work. We know that in order to find B, we need to take 1 and subtract that 9%. When we do, we get 0.91. This is going to be our B term. All right, now we actually have our B term and we have our A term, so we can create an equation. Let's go ahead and do that. We know they always start with y equals A times B to the power of x. In this case, x is going to be the amount of time that passes. So let's go ahead and fill in our A. Our A is 94,000. And our B is 0.91. Because this value is lower than 1, it is going to be declining, which is what we wanted. Now let's go back to the example and find out how much time has passed. Well, we purchased the Hummer 5 years ago, which means 5 years have passed. Let's go ahead and find what that would be if we plug it in for 5. Okay, so we now have our equation, which is y equals 94,000 times 0.91 to the power of 5. Now remember, when we solve exponential functions, we always have to start with the exponent first, and then afterwards we'll multiply by our starting amount. Let's take the value of 0.91 to the power of 5. This gives us approximately 0.624. So let's go ahead and rewrite that in here. I try not to use commas. 94,000 times 0.624 equals. So now let's take this 0.624 and multiply it by the 94,000, which gives us $58,659.02. So let's write that out as well. 58659. .02. This tells us that the value of the vehicle is $58,659.02 today, which is much less than what it started with at $94,000. This concludes video 1.